and welcome back to another episode of Modern Mom Probs Live. I am your host, Tara Clark. Today, I am joined by Ashley Brown. She is a mother, author, educator, self-proclaimed routine queen, and I'm excited to learn more about that. She's the founder of Routine and Things, which focuses on helping women get organized and get into routine so that they can enjoy the heck out of life. I'm all about that. I'm gonna bring her on right now, and let's see how it goes. Come on, technology. Let's see. Ashley, can you hear me? Let's see. Wait a second, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, but that's okay because it's live TV and that's how things go sometimes. There you go. Wait, it's getting closer. I feel like we're getting closer. Ashley, can you hear? Yeah, I think you're muted. So if you can go off of mute, I think that will be in a good way. Here we go. That's it. Hello. Oh, you're still muted. I think there's a little button right over there. It's
Got it.
yeah. Hi, sorry about that, guys. Don't worry about that. We're totally cool. I am so excited to meet you, Ashley Brown. How are you?
I'm doing good, Tara. I'm doing well tonight. I'm typically in bed at this time, like at least, yes, routine girl over here. So I'm typically winding down,
Yeah.
but I'll always talk about routines at any time of day. So I'm good. Yes.
I love it. I think that's so important to have a really good routine, and I feel like I need to be better about it, which is partly why we're chatting today, because I need you to give me all the tips and tricks on how to have a better routine. So I want to start off with my first question is, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get to be the self-proclaimed routine queen?
Yes. So first off, hi everyone. My name is Ashley Brown. I reside in Baltimore, Maryland, although I was born and raised in South Carolina. So I'm really a Southern girl. But living here in Baltimore, Maryland with my family, my husband, my two kids. I have two girls, ages 3 and 5, still small. So still in that stage where it's like, God help me, because it's just, it just goes up and down all the time. And so, other than that, aside from that, I own the business Routine and Things, which is all about helping women get organized into routine so that they enjoy the heck out of life. And I got started with this. Honestly, it was from a really rough time. I was a stay-at-home mom for about 2.5 years back in 2018, 2019. And that was a hard transition. I mean, I feel like back then, people didn't talk enough about how hard it was to be a stay-at-home mom. And when I got into it, I realized that I had very high expectations for it. I was raised by a single parent, so I had no clue about what being a stay-at-home mom was. And my life quickly spiraled when I transitioned to being a stay-at-home mom due to really mentally, it was mental chaos for me because I just wasn't used to it. And also I had high expectations. And so then my life just started spiraling and really the mismanagement started to happen. And what really brought me back were routines. And that's when I was like, you know what? If I made it back to a place where I feel good and routines were instrumental in that, I want to help women do the same. So that's how I got into the business.
I love that story, and I think that's so important. And it's so important that you say that, especially when you have small children. if you're a stay-at-home mom and you have small children, routines go right out the window. It's like you don't know when you're going to shower again. The only thing you do know is like maybe like when you're going to feed them, when they're going to take a nap, when they're going to go to bed. But for the rest of the day, it's kind of just like a big hodgepodge, right?
Yeah.
So, right? So I think it's really important, as a mom, especially of young children, to really lay down those routines. So now it's September. We're getting back to school, right? The kids are in school now, and schedules start to get hectic again because there's extracurriculums and there's school and all different things like that. So, like, help me. How do we get organized?
Yes. So, oh my gosh, like yes, my girls just went back last week and I'm like, this is a really like challenging time for us. So much so. And I'm so glad that I have things that anchor me. But I think what can really help you when you're wanting to get organized and also stay organized, because I think both are important and we're really looking to do both. Two things that can be really instrumental is planning. And I know everyone that's probably listening to this has heard that planning is very great for you to do. And also routines. Like those are the two things that I think, honestly, especially in synergy, that really help you in feeling more organized in your life. And they do two different things. I really feel like planning helps you get organized. Like if you're feeling scattered or you're feeling frazzled or you just have a lot swirling in your head and you don't know which direction to go and you're trying to prioritize, planning can help you get organized. Whereas routines, I really believe, help you stay organized because they're consistent actions that support your life that help to build a strong foundation. So you having that foundation really helps you in times that do feel a little bit more chaotic or in transition. And that can really help you in staying organized even throughout the transitioning. So those are the two things that I think are really helpful for people, especially if you're looking to really get organized and stay organized. Those two things are really helpful.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I was on your Instagram earlier, and you were doing some really nice reels about like burnout and brain dumps. So I kind of want to like explore that concept of like when you feel burnt out, then maybe you should do a little brain dumping. Tell me more about that.
Yes, I am a huge fan and advocate for brain dumping. I think that we need to do it more. And most of us, I feel like, do it, but maybe we don't realize we're doing it. It's just like when you feel like, okay, I need to get everything out of my head. Brain dumping is so helpful because when you're feeling burned out, I feel like it's really mental. Like, yes, sometimes we can be doing a lot physically and we feel burned out, but honestly, I feel like it's more of a mental burnout that leads to an emotional burnout. And so, with all of the things in your head, if you are to just take out a piece of paper and just jot down everything in your head, not with the expectation of doing anything with it, but just more so of getting it out of your head, that will help you to release a lot of stress and even anxiety in that moment. And so that's why I'm such a huge proponent for it. And I think, especially when it comes to planning, I always recommend brain dumping as the first step before you try to prioritize, because then your planning is more intentional.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna have to start thinking about that kind of stuff. So you're the founder of Routine and Things, and you work with a method called the routine block planning method. I wanted to get that right. Tell me, what is the routine block planning method?
Yes, so this is a part of our routine and things planning process that's going to be housed in our first yearly planner, which comes out October 5th, which I'm super
Ooh.
excited about. The
Oh,
routine
that's
and things
exciting.
planner. Yes, yes, I'm
Yeah,
so excited. It's right.
congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. I know it was a long process. So I'm just so happy that it's finally here. And I'm super excited about it for women. But the routine block planning method is a part of the planning process we have inside of the planner. And what it is where you organize your weekly tasks into four routine categories: self care, family, cleaning, and cooking, which are really anchors in your life and the main like the main routines that when you are managing them well, you feel good. You feel like, okay, I have some hold on my life. Like I'm caring for myself. I'm keeping up with the things going on with the family and even having quality time with them. I'm keeping a tidy home. It doesn't have to be super clean, but at least, it's not as cluttered. Things are kind of together. Laundry is kept up with. And then also, I'm eating in a way, and our family is eating in a way that feels good. Of course, I love me some takeout too, but when we eat that too much, we
Yeah.
start to feel like, wait, hold up, my money starts to go.
Yep.
Then you just feel like health wise. And
Yep.
so when you are keeping up with those anchors, those four routine categories, I really feel like you feel so much better in your life. And because when I think about it, and just as we think about life, those things, when life gets stressful, especially during transitions like now, they kind of go out the window. We kind of like forget about them because a transition is causing us to have a lot of mental stress. And so I want women to be anchored back to those four routine categories every week and every time they come back to plan. So that's what the routine block planning method is. And I think it's going to be really helpful for so many people.
Yeah, that sounds so helpful. So, like, what does your typical day look like? Like, what is your typical routine?
Yeah, so I have the way that I think about routines is I have routines that support my life in certain moments. Like, of course, I can go throughout my day, but I would say my from like the beginning of my day to the end of my day, the typical routines that I do in a day are a morning routine with myself and my two girls. So we
Mhm.
have a morning routine, and then I usually work and I do and that's a whole thing, what I do throughout the day with work. And then after that, another one I will do is a kitchen routine. I will also, right, get my kitchen together. I will do a tidy routine before I actually start my bedtime routine, which is really quick and simple. And then I do a bedtime routine. So, like on a day to day basis, those are the routines that I'm doing consistently. And then sometimes I'll add in like my planning routine that I have if I want to plan for the day, but I do that more so weekly. So, that is how my life basically flows in a sense. And those are the routines that really support me in my day to day.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you plan your week out, like, let's say on Saturday or Sunday for the next week coming up?
Yeah, so I typically plan on Fridays, which is actually going to be tomorrow. Yep. I
Yeah.
typically plan on Fridays because I plan for my home and I plan for business. And so that's typically done on Fridays. It's done with, it's a wrap. And I'm like, okay, I'm good to go. I know what's happening, or at least have a sense of what's happening because it doesn't always check out. So yeah.
That makes sense. So like, how long does something like that take? Because, like, let's say the average busy parent's like, I don't have time for this kind of stuff. I don't have time. Like,
Mhm.
my life is too crazy to plan. So, what do you say to somebody that says that?
You have to make the time, honestly, because what is the alternative? Like, if you're not making the time to plan, then that's probably what's leading to you feeling really chaotic in your life. And so, do you want to remain feeling chaotic, or do you actually want to carve out some time to plan? And that can help you in having a sense of direction for how your week is going to flow. And so, that's what I say to that. Planning, if you have a system and a process for planning, it honestly should not take you a long time to do. Now, yes, it's going to take some thought. It's going to take you being intentional and thinking about what's happening in the week, but it shouldn't take you a very long time to where you feel like, wait, I'm sitting here for even an hour. I feel like is a long time. Like, I'm like, I want to be done in 15 minutes. That's me.
Yeah, that's good. I
I
like
want
15 minutes. 15 minutes is good.
Yes.
Get the book out.
I
You
want to be
do.
done in 15 minutes, even if you got to stretch that to 20, maybe 25. That's really the max, like honestly. And so that's what I believe. If you have a good, solid planning process that works for you, it should not take you a long time to plan. Maybe in the beginning, if you're not used to planning, it might take you longer because you're getting used to the process, you're getting used to the system. But over time, you're going to get quicker and quicker and quicker.
Yeah. How deep do you go in detail? Like, do you know what you're going to be cooking for dinner each night of the week? Like, do you know, like, okay, I'm going to go food shopping and I got to get this, because I know on Tuesday I'm going to make that.
So I have a little bit more flexibility to my life just because, and I used to be a very rigid like that which is fine. I don't think that's a problem because if that works for you, that works for you. But for my life,
For me.
I
It didn't work for me. It might work for somebody else. But
for my for my life, what I typically do is I have options for what I'm planning. So I mean cooking. So yes, I do meal plan, but my meal plan, if I put it on a Monday, that doesn't mean I'm cooking it on a Monday. That just means that's an option for the week. So that's how I think about a meal plan. And yes, I will put on my planner like when I'm going grocery shopping, which I've been doing Instacart lately. So I'll put on my planner when I'm going to do an Instacart order, and I'll do it because I know these are the options that I have for the week, but it's not like, oh, I'm going to cook this on Tuesday. No, I typically know what I'll just choose one of the dishes on the meal plan just like in that day. So, but I know I have the ingredients at my home, which is important. So,
right,
yeah.
right. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So like, do you have a planner that's like a personal planner for your family life and then one that's also for work? Like, do those kind of like go over each other? How does that work out usually? What do you recommend?
So, so what I've been doing, I'm going to keep it all the way real with you for right now. Like what I've been doing lately, I'm about to switch it, but what I've been doing lately is I plan on one sheet. I wish I had it by me. I plan on one sheet for home and business because I've gotten to that point of being able to do that. Like I don't have a lot that I'm doing for my home because a lot of it is routines.
Sure.
So like I plan outside of my routines. So it's really not a lot I'm writing down for my home, what I'm
Yeah.
doing in it. Um, and then I'm planning for my business on the same sheet because I typically do like 2 to 3 tasks for my business every day, which are small and doesn't take me much time because I like to like chunk out my tasks over like a course of the week. And
Yeah.
so that's how I plan. But I am going to eventually go to having a plan, like using the routine and things planner for my home and then using a separate like notepad for my business just because the girls are starting to do a little bit more and I need to keep more track of that. I mean, they're still young, so they're not in a lot of activities, but they're starting to do a little bit more and they want to go on like going on dates with like classmates and like do little things. And I'm like, okay, let me keep up with this. So yeah, I think I'm gonna switch to that really soon. But for like the last like 2 years, I plan on one sheet.
Yeah, that makes sense. One time I was chatting with another organizing expert, professional planner, and she was saying like, don't use your phone to plan things. Like, don't like go into your Google Calendar and put it all there. She's like, you need to have like a pencil and the book in front of you. What do you think about that? What do you say to like technology versus books?
I honestly feel like do what works for you. Personally, that's my vibe because I'm like a huge like pen to paper, and I do believe that there's something to pen to paper. I do. I think that it's definitely because it's research behind it. It is something about putting pen to paper helps you to implant it and like imprint it in your brain more.
Mm-hmm.
However, some people really struggle with getting the pen on the paper. And I'm like, if you're really struggling with that, then it's not going to work for you. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not. So I'm like, do what works with your mind and with how you naturally move because that's what you're going to be able to stay consistent with because I know people who do the technology thing and they have it lined up and they stay focused and they stay organized and it's a beautiful thing. So I really say play around with it and really see what works for you because one size doesn't fit all, and so you have to really do what is going to be most beneficial for you.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I agree too, because like for me, I'm sort of a combination of both. Like I put everything in my phone, like in my calendar, my Google Calendar, but then there's sort of spillover. And sometimes you do need to do a brain dump and like the things that you have to do for the day, your meetings and maybe your to-dos and stuff like that. But then sometimes it's like above and beyond that, like then you also do have to sort of grab a pencil and 50,000 post-it notes and write down all of those other like creative things, and as a small business owner, there's a lot of those like small creative things that you're not necessarily putting in your Google Calendar. That makes sense,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. That does. And I'm pretty sure people do do both. They might not realize it, but yeah, it's like those things where you just need to like just dump out what's in your brain, because who wants to do that in like the note section of your phone? Like a lot of people aren't doing that.
It's too much.
So
It's too much. But you know, my new thing lately, I've been doing a lot of like talk to text. So when I do have an idea, I'll like talk to text it, and then I feel good about that because then at least I have it all written out. The talk to text might be a mess. It's like question marks and periods, and all the words are spelt wrong and stuff. But you know what though? It's there, and so I
yeah.
can go back and fix it when I need to. But that has been like a game changer for me as far as like writing to-do lists and like sort of keeping myself on top of it. And I do it for emails and text messages and stuff. I go back and fix it. Don't think I'm like sending out these things with like crazy like, you know, like I don't know, question marks in the middle of words. I'm not. I'm doing it right. But still, I think that's a real game changer, is having
Yeah.
the talk to text feature, because then you could just like so quickly. For whatever reason, my hand does not write as fast as my mind thinks, and that I'm able to say. So
I'm
I
with
guess,
you.
you
I'm
know,
with you, Tara. No,
right?
I'm with you.
You
I do
gotta
the
do what
same
works for
thing.
you.
You do. You do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the same thing, even though it's like, because even when I text my friends, I'm like, I don't want to text. Like, I can do the voice message, but like texting takes too much time. I just want to get it out of my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my new thing now. So like, speaking of the internet and distractions and texting and stuff like that, the modern world is full of distractions. How can we stay focused on our daily priorities and our daily routines?
Really, we have to, one, this is the first thing I always share, is you have to know what is of value to you and what you value. I'm huge on like knowing your core values. What are those things that you want to stay in alignment with, because they benefit your life and they make you live life with more ease and enjoyment. And so when you know your core values, distractions are always going to happen. But you might look at it for a second and then you get back focused on what really matters to you. If you have no clue about what really matters to you, then that's when distractions are going to happen, and we have that shiny object syndrome, and we start to then compare. Is when we don't know what matters to us. It's like it's like I always share with people, you'll see sometimes I'll see people and they have their children in so many activities, and I'm
Mhm.
like, yay for her, not me. We're not doing it. It's not going to happen. Like, that's great and that's beautiful. But I'm like, I know what I value, and I
Mhm.
also value my time. My time. Like, yes, my children are going to be in activities, but also it's going to be managed in a way where I still have time for myself, because that's what's going to help even my life and my home and my family flow better, is when I'm well taken care of. And so when you know what you value, you will stay focused on that more so. So that's the first thing. And also just prioritizing your priorities. And I know that may seem strange, but it's like sometimes we'll be like, oh, that's important to me and this is a priority. Like, oh, I want to eat healthier, because that's something I'm on that train now of like really
Same.
trying to change the way that I'm eating, which has been very beneficial. But we'll be like, oh, I really want to eat healthier, and that's a priority for me to get in more nutritious meals. But then we don't even shop like that, or we don't prioritize meal planning when we know we have a busy week coming up, or even maybe meal prepping because a busy week is coming up, and we know we go into the fridge and it's nothing there, so we just pick up the quickest thing, or we
Mhm.
order takeout. Like, it's like you have to prioritize what matters to you, because that way you're going to stay focused in that. And it's so many ways that you can prioritize, but I'm going to go back to planning.
Yeah.
Helps you prioritize those things. And also, if you really want to stick to like the daily priorities, you can build a really supportive routine around those things, like eating a little bit more nutritiously, or even exercising more, moving your body. Like, you can build routines surrounding that. And so that's what I would share. Really know what matters to you, like, honestly, and investigate that and really take inventory of that.
It makes so much sense, actually, because like I never really thought about the concept of like planning for those priorities. But that's it. Like that really is true, because like that's how you know it's important to you. Whether it's working out, going for a walk around the block, or like you said, eating healthy. And that really starts at going to the supermarket and getting the right food at the supermarket. And it's true. I mean, even if it's work stuff, right? Like if you're planning for work, then those specific things are important to you. And I love how you said that. I think that makes so much sense. I'm going to ask you like one more question. So we're moms. How can moms keep on top of what matters to them, including themselves?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to go back to what I said. I know I'm going to keep saying this, y'all. Planning and routines. And honestly, if I had to start with one, I don't know, both are so important, but like build a solid foundation, start to get routines up and going. That can be starting a planning routine. That can be one routine that you get up and going is a planning routine that you do on a weekly basis, or if you need to do it on a daily basis, depending on how your life looks. But start to incorporate that routine, because if you're not prioritizing what matters, that includes you, you're not going to do it. Like you're not going to take care of yourself, and you're not going to feel well. And then you're still going to be stressed and still going to be anxious. And like, why does my life feel so crappy? You need to make sure that you're prioritizing these things and planning and incorporating routines into your life. Routines have such a ripple effect. They're not just in the moment. Like when you do a routine, it ripples throughout your life in just beautiful ways. You have more space, you're role modeling for your children. It's just so many things that routines provide. They help you be more consistent, because if you can be consistent with a routine, you can be consistent with a lot of things in your life. So
Yeah.
routines really have a ripple effect. And so I would say start to build a routine around just even caring for yourself first and foremost. That was the first routine that I started, and it has been such a huge blessing for me and such a game changer in my life to care for myself in a way that feels good and nurtures me. And you can have the same for your life. I mean, you have to stay focused on you to be able to manage this thing called life in a way that feels good and with ease and enjoyment. So that's what I would say to that.
Oh, that's beautiful parting words. Ashley Brown, I adore you. Tell everybody where we can find you.
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram at Routine and Things. That's where I primarily hang out and connect. And also check out routineandthings.com. That's where everything is housed.
I love it. I love it. I cannot wait. You said October 5th, the planner comes out,
Yes,
right?
October
I
5th.
gotta check
Yes.
it out. I'm going to remember that. Awesome. Ashley, thank you so much for joining. Now it's not